Hello, guys. Morning and hello again. Well, guys, as I told you in our previous online sessions, and today we are going to talk about essays. Okay. Well, before doing this, well, in our previous sessions, we were talking about paragraphs and how to write a paragraph. Okay, so that was like the assignment for the previous, I think, two previous sessions, because in our last session it was a holiday. Friday, the previous Friday was a holiday, so we didn't have class. And so the two sessions before that holiday, we talked um, about how to write a paragraph, because why? Because, well, it is compulsory. It's a must, you know. Um, it's a must to it's a must. Okay, to understand um, how to write a paragraph, to write an essay. So those are like the first steps, to write an essay. We need to know how to write a paragraph. That's it. Well, is not fast. Okay, so let me share the learning guide. I want to share the learning guide with you for today. Well, it is not the learning guide, but like it's like a lesson plan for today. Okay, this one. Well, um, as it says, essay writing to um, the date for today, August 14th, 2026. And here we have like what we are going to do, you know, essay writing. For this evidence, you are required to keep writing your essay. Well, let me remind you that the first step in this essay writing process is that we are required to write an essay, but called purpose statement. Okay, well, that is, we will talk about that in our next session. But I want you to have in mind the requirement is write a 5-paragraph essay, for this session. Well, we are going to devote at least 3 sessions on doing this because it's not easy. Writing is a demanding process, It's a little bit complex at the beginning, but it's so demanding. So we need to train a little bit, beforehand. Before writing the essay we are required to write at the end of the sessions. So for today, we are required to start, not writing and finishing. No, we are going to start like brainstorming or writing like a draft, okay? A draft of what is a final essay, okay? And today we are going to see as well um, some videos about, we are going to watch 3 videos: how to write an essay, a 4-minute step-by-step guide, and 6 basic steps to writing an academic essay. And finally, how to write an essay, the thesis statement. Well, why the thesis statement? Because this is like the initial part of writing an essay, you know? Once you have the thesis statement clear in your mind, in your process, so, it's easier to start drafting and writing and producing your essay. Okay? So that is what we are going to do on our session today. So you're very welcome. You are very welcome to, well, I think if you want, you can participate on this session. It will be great for you to take part, active part in this session. No? Nevertheless, well, it's not it's not compulsory because we we this is a synchronic session. Let me share with you some definitions of a paragraph beforehand. I want I want you to have in mind some definitions of an essay. Um, well, let me go to this part. Let me share this part with you. Um, Wait a second. I will share this screenshot. It's interesting because in this session, in this screenshot, we're going to share like the structure of a paragraph, of an essay. I'm sorry. This is the ideal essay we are going to write. But as I told you at the beginning of the session, please, we are required to um, start our first draft of an essay. So you are not required to submit anything yet. Okay? Please keep it on your computer or whatever you want and start drafting and brainstorming and researching about the topic you are going to write about. Okay? Brainstorm is an essential part of this essay writing process. Okay, as well. So let me share um, the definitions. Well, according to some literature, um, an essay can be broad and include formal and informal styles of writing. But in this assignment for essay writing, we are going to deal with academic essay, okay? So for an academic version, is writing an essay is considered to be relatively short piece of non-fiction writing, explaining the writer's perspective on a topic or argument, okay? So keep in mind that we are going to talk about academic essays, okay? In addition to this perspective will almost always be based on research. Okay, before writing, it is required to research about a topic, okay, about your argument, about your ideas, about your question. Research is investigar, okay? Um, and we maybe collect information. We may collect information using either primary or secondary methods to gather information, okay? The style of an essay, uh, is necessary at the university level, and it is also necessary as well in your companies, okay? So, um, well, sometimes you are required to write paragraphs, to write mails, to write a letter, to write an essay about any topic in your company. So it is necessary to learn at least the basics of how to write an essay, okay? And I want you to have in mind this structure. And as I told you, we are going to work on a 5-paragraph essay. So the first essay is about the introduction, okay? So in this essay, you are required to to talk about the background, okay? The background, the context, problem or debate, thesis statements, okay? So in other words, this introduction is the like the well, as it says, it is the introduction to the topic, to the essay. It is the first paragraph. It's what tells the reader, uh, well, gives a lot of information about the essay, and it tells the reader what is the topic of your essay, what is your thesis statement, what is the background of your essay, what is what is your essay mostly about, okay? So that is why writing a good introduction in an essay is compulsory, it's necessary. Then after the first paragraph, we can see the three next paragraphs. They are called body paragraphs, okay? So, as I told you, 5 paragraphs in all. The first one, number 1, introduction. 2, 3, and 4, body paragraphs. They, all of them must have the topic sentence in each paragraph, supporting evidence, analysis, concluding, linking sentences. Okay, so remember that in our first paragraph, we talked about supporting evidence and detail. Okay, because yeah, you write your topic sentence, but these topic sentences need support. Okay, so support is writing detail, writing um, evidence, so that gives support to your topic sentence. So all the paragraphs, they must have the same structure, topic sentence, supporting detail, and concluding sentence. Okay, all the 3 paragraphs, the next 3 paragraphs, the body paragraphs, paragraph number 2, 3, and 4. The concluding paragraph, the conclusion paragraph, it contains the summary of the position and key reasons, implications, and the conclusion. It is the summary of what you said in the 4 previous paragraphs. Some authors suggest that can, you you may like paraphrase the first, okay, in this conclusion paragraph. You can paraphrase or you can summarize. Those 2 activities are okay. Okay. Um, Here we can let me see. Here we can say, well, we let me start sharing this template. This is another one. I want to share another template with you. Let me share it. This is a 5-paragraph template, you know. So the first paragraph is until here. We write the topic sentence with the topic, the thesis statement, and then we outline the introduction with a hook Hook means un gancho con el que usted atrae al lector. Okay? So, meaningful sentence, meaningful words that catch the reader's attention. Okay? Plus the background and the thesis statement. Then you write the body paragraphs, body paragraph 1, 2, and 3, and finally the conclusion paragraph. Okay? Well, you can restate the thesis and a final thought, or summarize or paraphrase the first paragraph. Okay? So that is pretty much the structure of your essay. And let me give you some clues. Well, also, we are going to use the clues from the video. Okay? But here, um, I came across some information from this is learning how to write an essay doesn't have. Well, this is an information I came across on the internet, and it talks about, well, it talks about 10 essay writing steps. So they first suggest, as I told you at the beginning of the session, we must research, hacer una investigación. It is essential because if we want to talk about, for instance, if we want to talk about violence in Colombia, si queremos hablar de violencia en Colombia, well, we need to look for information in, well, credible and important and respectable sources, Then make an analysis of the different kind of information you come across. Then, number 3, brainstorming, hacer una lluvia de ideas. After that short research, you can write or you can start drafting your thesis statement, okay? Let me go upward. Yes. Number 5, it is necessary to start outlining the essay, okay? Outlining the essay. So start like start writing the essay, and start writing the sentences, taking care of the sentences, and so start drafting. Then number 6, start writing the introduction. 7, the paragraphs, and 8, the conclusion. 9, the kind of style you are going to use, MLA, or let me see. Well, there are other different styles you can follow to write your essay, MLA, or I don't remember the others. Well, I'm so sorry. And also the language you're going to use in your academic essay. That's important, It is required to your target population. So if we write an academic essay, so our target population is, well, academic people, students, teachers, well, schools, whatever it is. Okay, so after this short introduction, I want to present some how to write an essay. Well, they are short, and they will give us clues and tips on how to write an essay. Okay, let me start sharing the first one, please. Let me start sharing the first video. We are going to watch 3 videos, as I told you at the beginning. Okay. this one. They are so meaningful. So
Welcome to your crash course on essay writing. By the time you finish this series, you'll be all set to ace your essay. This is the first video of the playlist, in which you'll learn the basics. In an academic essay, the goal is to persuade readers of a position or perspective through informed arguments supported with evidence and analysis. There are three main stages to writing an essay: preparation, writing, revision. In this video, I'll quickly go through all the stages and steps with you. And in the next few videos in this playlist, we'll go more into detail for each stage with example sentences and paragraphs. Can't wait? Let's dive right in. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scriber, here to help you achieve your academic goals. In the preparation stage, you first need to understand the assignment and choose a topic. Once you've chosen your topic, you should come up with an initial thesis. This is the main point you want to make in the essay, or the position you're going to argue for. At this stage, it doesn't have to be perfectly phrased, but it's important to start with a clear idea of what you want to say. Then you can start creating an outline and planning your essay structure. This will kickstart your writing and keep you on track. Preparation is done, and now we're moving on to writing. Every essay starts off with an introduction. It's important to grab the reader's interest right off the bat and inform them what will be covered in the essay. Hook the reader in the first sentence, and then give context that will help your reader understand your argument. This might involve providing brief background information, giving an overview of important academic work or debates on the topic, and explaining difficult terms. But don't overdo it. Just enough to give the reader a taste, you know? Next, remember the thesis statement from before? Present it here. Tell the reader the central argument you're going to make. The thesis statement is usually 1 or 2 sentences long, and it drives the whole essay, so make sure to spend some time on this part. You can end your introduction section with an overview of the essay, so basically signposting your essay structure. Moving on to the body section. This is the longest part of your essay, usually around 60 to 80%. Here is where you make arguments supporting your thesis, provide evidence, and develop your ideas. It's easy to get lost in a big chunk of text. To give your essay a clear structure, it is important to make use of paragraphs. Each paragraph should be centered around just one argument or idea. Introduce the purpose of each paragraph using topic sentences. A good topic sentence makes the transition from the previous paragraph and introduces the argument to be made in this paragraph. After the topic sentence, present evidence by providing the reader with data, examples, or quotes. Be sure to interpret and explain the evidence, and show how it helps develop your overall argument. Whew! The hard work is done, and you've arrived at the last paragraph of your essay, the conclusion. Here are 3 things you should do. Summarize and tie together the points you made in the essay's body. Show the outcome of your arguments. What new insights have you provided? Emphasize why your argument matters. After you're done writing, but before you submit your hard work, it's important to revise and polish your writing. Double check your arguments. Have you said everything you meant to say, or do some points need restructuring? Finally, make sure to check your grammar, spelling, and formatting. And if you've cited sources in your paper, also use a plagiarism checker to make sure everything is good to go. Once you've checked everything off this checklist here, you're good to go. When you're ready, your next step should be creating an outline for essay. Click this to learn how to do so. Once you've checked everything sources in your paper, check your grammar, spelling, and formatting. And if spelling and formatting.
well, I wanted to stop here because what she says at the end of this video is essential, okay? The last, before we deliver, we submit the essay. Before submitting the essay, it is compulsory double checking the essay, okay? Double check what you did. So check the arguments, check the grammar of the essay, the spelling, and the formatting, you know, the template you are required to use for your essay before submitting, because submitting is the last step, you know. But before this, you are required to do all this double checking process. Okay, guys. Well, now let me share the next video. I already shared with you the link for the video. Now we are going to see another video about how to write an essay. Let me share it with you as well. Well, all these videos are, well, are good, are easy to understand, and are so meaningful and helpful for you, okay? They can help us, they can guide us, they can, well, offer us a lot of support in writing an essay. They are good. Well, I will share this one with you, and I will the link on our chat box. Okay, guys? Let me share it with you guys. Okay. Well, listen to the video and watch the video.
In this video, we'll talk about how to write an academic essay in 6 basic steps. Before we talk about the different steps needed to write an academic essay, let's talk about what an academic essay is. An academic essay should answer a question. Now, this may be an assignment from your class at university. It should have a thesis statement. This is the main point of your essay and a very important part of your academic essay. It should present or discuss the question by developing a thesis. The thesis is your opinion or the focus of the topic. And it should include examples, supporting evidence, as well as information from credible sources. So let's look at 6 basic steps to follow in writing an academic essay. The first thing you need to do is analyze the question. The next step is to establish a possible thesis or point of view. Then you need to research and take notes. The fourth thing you need to do is to write an outline or an essay plan to help you organize your essay. Then you need to write your first draft from your notes and research. And the final step is to edit and write your final essay. Let's talk more in detail about each of these steps. The first step is to analyze the question. To analyze something is to examine carefully by finding the different parts or details. A possible essay assignment question might be something like this. Analyze the impact of global warming on future food supplies. Now, this question actually uses the word analyze, but analyze means to examine carefully by finding the different parts or details of the topic. So when you receive a specific question to write an essay about, you will need to analyze or examine carefully the different parts of the question. In this question, the different parts would be the impact of global warming and the topic of future food supplies. You will need to analyze the question or examine carefully what different parts you should include in the essay. Here are a few other words that are often used in assignment questions. Describe. This means to give a detailed account. A possible question might be, describe the effects of marijuana on the brain. Another word that is often used in a question is the word examine. Examine means to look at carefully and discuss. An example question could be, examine the major impacts of mental health on society today. You will often be asked to compare something, which means to find similarities and differences between 2 or more ideas. A possible question could be, compare the effects of marijuana and alcohol on the brain. Evaluate is another word which means to show both the strengths and weaknesses of a topic. For example, Evaluate the pros and cons of self-driving vehicles. And one more that you might see is the word discuss. Discuss means to present in detail for examination. Discuss the major differences between solar energy and wind energy. As you can see, these are different words that may be used in an assignment or a question. And although some of the words may sound similar, each one has a slightly different approach. Let's move on to step number 2. Establish a possible thesis or a point of view. So after analyzing the question, you will need to decide what your opinion is or what points you want to discuss in your essay. You will then use your ideas to write a thesis statement for your essay. The thesis statement states the opinion or the main argument that the essay intends to answer. If you're not sure about how to write a good thesis statement, you might want to check out my video about how to write this important part of an academic essay. Step number 3 is to research and take notes. You need to research for information on the internet or in journals or in books or wherever you can find the information you need to discuss or evaluate or compare your topic. You will need to
Well, this part is also so important. You know, I told you about the research part in writing an essay. Research and take notes. Research es investigar información, por información on the internet, in journals, and in books, okay? And after that, you can start organizing the information you find, you know? Well, if you are going to talk about Colombia, for instance, it is good to have some information about Colombia, about, well, the topic you want to talk or discuss about in your essay. So you do a research process, you know, because academic writing, academic essays are, well, it is required to have a look to credible sources, you know. That's important. That's compulsory. Okay, keep going.
organize the information that you find. You might use a chart something like this to help keep the information that you have found in one place, making it easier to find the source again later. Take notes from your research and begin to collect information that you will use in your essay. Step number 4 is to write an outline or an essay plan. This is a very important part of writing a good academic essay. Here are 3 examples of what an outline or an essay plan might look like. By filling in this information, your essay will be more organized. Now you need to try writing your first draft. The first draft is your first attempt at writing the essay. It does not need to be perfect. This is where you put together the information that you want to present. Use your notes from your research and begin to write the information into sections. Then use your essay plan or outline to continue organizing your ideas. Decide if you need more information to use in your essay. And remember, the first draft does not need to be perfect. The final step is to edit and write your final essay. Use your first draft and begin to rewrite any sections that need improvement. You may
Well, okay, guys. So this is the second video. Now look so quickly to the last video is about how to write the thesis statement. Okay, guys, it is quite necessary, and as I told you at the beginning, well, writing an essay is complex, you know, but it is interesting. It is so interesting. takes time, you know. It is necessary, it is compulsory to have to devote time to this process. Okay, do it slowly, but consciously. Okay, it is so necessary to, well, to have a look to all the detail the sources we have. Okay, so let's have a look to this video. It's about a 5 minutes video. We are going to watch at least three on how to write your thesis statement for the essay.
And welcome to How to Write an Essay. Today I'm talking all about thesis statements, and you might think that's impossible to make an entire video about thesis statements, but I have so much to say. This series is brought to you by Squarespace. So, a thesis statement. You could say it is the anchor of your entire paper. Let's start. What is a thesis statement? It's a short statement, usually one sentence, that summarizes the main point or claim of an essay and is developed, supported, and explained in the text by means of examples and evidence. Where should it be? Typically, your thesis statement should be at the end of your introduction. This is not a steadfast rule. You don't always have to put it there, but honestly, 99% of the time, you want to have it at the end of your introduction. A really helpful way to think about your thesis statement is that it's a compass. Imagine that you've just been plopped in front of a forest.
Well, I want to explain you something here. Well, she says she gives us a great tip, okay? She says that it is suggested to write the thesis statement at the end of the introduction. So the first paragraph is called introduction paragraph. So at the end of this paragraph, you are required to write your thesis statement, okay? Please, at the end of the introduction paragraph.
Have to put it there, but honestly, 99% of the time, you want to is that it's a compass. Imagine that you've just been plopped in front of a forest and someone gives you an introductory ramble about this forest. Your thesis statement is the compass. Right before you're going to go and journey into the forest for a hike, you need a compass. You need something that you're constantly checking back to lead you and direct you through the essay and for. A lot of my students felt that thesis statements were something they were simply doing for me because I wanted them, because I love thesis statements. And I do love thesis statements, but they're actually a tool for you, the writer of the essay, as well. It's a way for you to keep on track. Constantly throughout your essay, you should be referring back to your thesis statement, looking at that compass to remind yourself what it is you're arguing. A lot of the times research can get out of control. You find yourself on fun but random tangents, and it's important to constantly be linking back to your thesis statement. It's a tool for you also. So how do you make a thesis statement? It's really important to realize that a topic is not the same thing as a thesis statement. Your topic could be dogs, but your thesis statement will be a specific and arguable point about dogs. You could, for example, make your thesis statement, small dogs make better companions than large dogs. There you have a specific statement. It's not a fact, it's an opinion, it's an argument that you're making and trying to defend. Remember that your thesis statement should be an argument, not a fact. I have marked a lot of essays where the thesis statement is simply a fact. Something like, windows are made of glass. That's not something that you can argue. That's just fact. You're just giving me a research paper. What we're going for is an argumentative statement, something unique to you, something that you are proving, something that you're making connections about that nobody else has. If you're struggling to write an argumentative thesis statement, I find it incredibly helpful to do this practice. Write down on your computer, go ahead and type, in this essay, I will be arguing that, and then fill in the blank. That literally forces you to create an argument. You can end up leaving that as your final thesis statement, especially in lower years of university. just having a clear argument is what a marker is looking for. But you can then, once you have a solid thesis foundation, change that so that it isn't as obvious. Another thing to keep in mind is that a thesis statement is never fixed. You can always change it. And thesis statements often do change throughout the essay writing process. You may have a thesis statement, you write your first paragraph, and you're like, oh, wow, I actually am arguing something else. Or like 7 paragraphs into the paper, you realize, wow, I'm not actually arguing what my thesis statement is.
Okay, guys, as this the last video, well, tells us a lot of good things about how to write the thesis statement. Okay, if you don't understand the English spoken here, well, you can have the possibility to download the transcript of the video. Okay, the whole video. Aquí aparece escrito el transcript de todo el video que dijimos acá en English. Okay, so if you are not able, si usted no entiende todo en inglés, you can download the transcript. The transcript es la parte escrita del video, ¿ok? So this is all about the video, about the essay. We are going to start drafting. Remember, start drafting. Vamos a empezar el borrador, ¿ok? This is not the end of the video. This is just the first draft. Okay, guys? Well, thank you for attending the session. I am so pleased working with you today. Thank you for attending the session and thank you for taking the time for watching the video later. Okay, bye and have a good day and have a good weekend. Bye-bye. It was a pleasure.